Hey, Dr. Joel Glenn Wixon here. I'm the author of 7 Billion Geniuses and also the guy that does the Facebook posts every week on Facebook. And this is another in a series of videos that I'm doing to try to expand on these ideas that come from the 7 Billion Geniuses book. And that I just did is a reflection of practicing. The reason why I did it was not to show off, but to talk about practicing. The last video in the series was I was out in the woodshed talking about doing work, and I planned to do this video about the importance of practice and to introduce you guys to some of the practices that I do, not as a training kind of thing, but just as a reflection of how everything that we do ultimately is a result of practice and may in fact be a practice. But I was talking to a guy yesterday, and this came up. This is really to stand up against the notion that there are things that that just happen, that we come into a place of centeredness in our lives and we just kind of float along from there. And to say, no, it's not just about landing someplace and being there and that's all that it is. It's about taking up practices that continue to, and for me, because taking up practices that keep me in a place where, or a place that's more consistent with how I want to be. And so there are a number of things that I practice in order to be able to do the things that I want to do. And I've talked on many occasions about how much I love to sing. And so today what I'm going to do is actually show you guys what I do in order to sing the way that I do, just so that you can see that singing is also a manifestation of practice. And so I'm going to walk you through actually the vocal warm-ups that I do every single day, and sometimes a couple times a day. And actually I have to do it again today. I already did it earlier, but there was a stretch of time that I went through where I wasn't singing, and I'm just getting ready to do some practicing, some rehearsing. It's funny, in bands we talk about practicing, at least we always did, and theater talks about rehearsing. I think the practice thing is, for me, is about the constant evolution of what we do. So anyway, so this is part of my practice of singing, and then I'm going to practice some songs. But I have to warm up again, so I'm going to show you exactly how I do that, and I'm going to show you right now. So these are exercises that I learned from my voice teacher. I'm proud to say that I have a voice teacher. I'm proud to say that I have teachers. This all doesn't sort of manifest to me in my life, and anybody who's watched these videos or follows the Facebook page or the blog knows that I'm very much connected to and grateful for my teachers. Amanda Munton is my voice teacher, and she's actually the voice teacher for my whole family. But she taught me these exercises, not necessarily in this order, but this is what I've come up with based on her teachings that gets me ready to start to sing. So the first thing that I do, they're called lip trills, and it's a way for me to start to get the airflow going for my voice that works for me. So so this is what I do. So I generally start off with some lower ones, and then I'll go up into my falsetto and start to work that passaggio, which is the space between the falsetto and the chest voice, which is, for me, is around this range of F, F sharp, and G. So I'm going to do those for a bit, and then I'll come back and tell you what I do next. This is the next thing I do. I think they're called sirens. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but it's a full voice thing where I start to sing on a vowel, and for this first set of whatever these are, sirens, I believe, I start with a vowel that's easy, so it's an ah vowel, and I just start to open up my range, and so it goes like this. Ah! 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 And I'm also starting to get the vibrato in and start to stretch my mouth out, so so that I'm opening up, getting ready for the whole range of what I might do. Ah! Ah! So I'm going to do that for a little while, and then I'll get back to you again. So the next thing I do in the siren singing is I start to get up into my falsetto. to start to open that up. So ah, ah, and I'm starting to work that passaggio from the falsetto down to the chest voice. Ah, ah, ah. And then once I've done that for a while, which I have, I did that off the video, I start on an E vowel. So for me, the hardest vowel to do is E, and I actually spend a lot of time working on that vowel, taking up the idea that if I work hardest on the things, if I work the most on the things that are the hardest, it makes them a lot easier. So after I've done the sirens in the A vowel for a while, I'll switch over to the E vowel, and that goes like this. So what I'm doing is I'm really pushing the top, not pushing in a pushing kind of trying to do something that I can't actually do kind of way, but I'm allowing myself to go up as high as I possibly can, and then come back down, not in a forceful way, but in just allowing that to happen. But again, very much working that passaggio. So these three notes, the F, F sharp, and G notes, are very difficult for me just because of physiologically what my vocal cords are. Everybody's got a place where that swap over happens, and it's where your voice cracks is usually the way that it's described. But for me, it's right there. And in order for me to sing those notes the way I want to, I have to get good at knowing exactly how to kind of negotiate that muscular change that happens there. And so I spend a lot of time working that very specific place. And especially working it in the E vowel is the hardest thing for me to do. So I spend a lot of time kind of in that area trying to make that happen. So I'm going to do that again for a little while, and then I'll get back to you. So now I've got the E vowel to a place where it seems kind of smooth, seems to be in the range of what I'm used to. And so the last thing that I do is a really high falsetto, whoopy kind of thing. What I'm doing is I'm just I'm allowing myself to sing the highest note that I can sing today, just so that every day I do that highest note, just so that I've kind of touched on the total expanse of my range. I also do the lower notes, but just so that my voice is kind of ready to do all the things that I might want it to do as I'm singing a song. And so I'm going to cover my ears because it's very loud, and fortunately the limiter on this camera is going to cut off, so it's not going to be any louder than your computer is already. So this is the high note that I do. Woo! 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 So that's the high note for today. And then the last thing that I generally do is another kind of throw up to the high note. Not throw up, but to do a falsetto swap over. So that allows me, with several songs I do when I go up into falsetto for a couple of notes, it allows me to get comfortable with that swap over place. So for that I do ah, wah, wah. And again, what I'm doing is I'm negotiating that passaggio place so that I'm comfortable, or where really. It's not about making that comfortable. It's always comfortable because I'm not pushing. All that I've learned from my voice teacher is about how to not push and not strain. So none of this is pushed or strained, but it's that subtle negotiation that I go through when I'm getting through those notes, so that I'm moving from my head voice into my chest voice in a way that doesn't create that kind of that whoa thing, which could absolutely happen, the voice crack or the yodel. Since I don't do yodeling, it's not something that I'm trying to achieve. But so I pass through it without anybody really even noticing that I've made that switch from the head to the middle voice to the chest voice. And so that's a vocal warm-up. And I do that, I may do that 4 times a day, depending on what I'm doing in that day. I always warm up first thing in the morning, if I do a practice time, which I do today, I'm probably going to warm up again. If I have a show in the afternoon or evening, I'm probably going to warm up again before that show. If there's a significant break between sets, I might warm up again between sets. But it's just this practice of kind of always keeping in this comfortable place where everything that I'm going to try to do is something that I've prepared to do. And it, you know, again, it's the difference between when we're preparing for something and when we're actually doing something. And you know, I find that to be a really important part of everything in my life. That there are certain things that I'm doing that are about preparation, and there are things that I'm doing that are about, you know, executing. And then there's, you know, some things that kind of cross that line between the two. And so this video is just an attempt to try to get across that message that that taking up practices is a really, really important part of my life. That the state that I'm in, that I really love to be in, of you know, kind of a centered calm place, is not the state that I'm always in. And I get better and better at achieving that state by not, in fact, being in it, because that reminds me of what I need to do in order to get in it. And so, in the case of singing, warming up is the thing that I need to do in order to get into that space. So, so that's the warm up. Now I'm going to do a song just to show you what the outcome of this process is, where I've allowed myself to relax my voice, to get ready to sing, to allow for that resonance to come in. That's ultimately a manifestation of that relaxed place. And so here we go. So the song that I'm going to do is actually the song, it's always the first song that I do when I'm practicing down here. It's my first kind of piano song. It's called Don't Be Blind, and it's on the Don't Be Blind CD that I did a couple of years ago. It goes like this. You haven't lost your way out along the road, and you can't see anything you can call your own, but you see the difference. See what you've made now. You have to take a hold of all the games you play. Listen to my voice. Calls you home, like a distant memory you have always known, but you had to take a chance. Reach out and take my hand if you want to share the load. Someone understand, and baby, don't be blind. This is yours to lose. Take responsibility for the path you choose, baby, 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 don't be blind. Wasn't long ago, yesterday, you weren't scared of anything, you were on your way, but you let them win, let them beat you down, let them take the best of you, and I was not around, but I'm waiting here like I've always been, faithful as the summer breeze, you're eternal freight, yeah, yeah, and you just have to turn around, it don't matter when. Responsibility for the path you choose, baby, 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 don't be blind. Every single day we can find the strength inside, we can find a way, yeah, 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 yeah. Thanks for watching, and keep in touch.